Good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of Business Morning. I'm Ini John Mekwa.
And I'm Ladi Williams. Good morning. And as expected, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank Nigeria yesterday left all policy parameters unchanged at its second meeting for the year. The Central Bank governor, while briefing on the outcome, says the country's economy is improving steadily, but more action such as intervention in critical sectors of the economy must be sustained to get the economy back on track. He also is concerned about the nation's rising inflation rate. Let's take a listen.
For the second time this year, the Monetary Policy Committee is meeting to decide on key economic issues. Before this meeting, figures from the National Bureau of Statistics reveals economic indices that are not good for the country. This includes the rise in inflationary pressures, unemployment and insecurity, which is leading to high prices of food items.
Real GDP, according to National...
Though the recovery of the nation's economy is gradually taking a new turn thanks to the COVID-19 vaccine, the central bank is promising to consolidate on gains achieved to reflate the economy.
While the bank is intervening significantly in the agricultural sector, the rising insecurity in some food-producing areas is limiting the expected outcomes in terms of supply to the market, thus contributing to the rise in food prices. The committee further noted that the key drivers of the increase in core inflation included the hike in the price of premium motor spirit PMS, popularly called petrol, upward adjustment in electricity tariffs, and the depreciation of our currency.
There are also concerns raised by the Monetary Committee. This includes how to address issues of rising debt and how to increase investment in infrastructure.
MPC noted that fiscal headroom remained constrained and fragile following the twin shock of the pandemic and oil price volatility and the continued build-up of public debt. MPC noted the bank's innovative efforts towards maintaining exchange rate stability. It also impressed on the management to remain focused on its drive to increase accretion to reserves, especially in its recent incentives to attract diaspora remittances into the country.
The economic outlook for the year 2021 remains gloomy, both at the global and domestic front. The Monetary Policy Committee is hopeful that with the arrival of the COVID-19 vaccines, Nigeria, just like other countries, is on its way to full economic recovery.
Well, the United Capital PLC has held its annual general meeting with the shareholders backing the company's board recommendation to pay 2020 dividends of 70 kobo per share. The meeting decided to adopt the financial statements and re-elected directors. Other key stakeholders also chart a new course for the coming years.
It's United Capital PLC's annual general meeting. And following the directive of the federal and state governments on restriction of large public gatherings due to COVID-19, the attendance and voting are by proxy. Shareholders, the company's executives, regulators, and other key stakeholders are all represented in this auditorium. The company's total revenue was up 50% year-on-year in 2020. Profit before tax grew to 61%, signifying solid growth in the overall profitability of the group. After scrutinizing the key metrics, the shareholders react.
Go down to share premium or retained earnings of this company. We are having 22 billion naira. Very healthy, Mr. Chairman.
The total dividends to be paid for the 2020 financial year is declared.
Is the declaration of dividend of 4.2 billion naira gross. The directors are recommending a dividend of 70 kobo per every ordinary share of 50 kobo to all shareholders whose names are registered in the company's register of members as at March 5th, 2021.
It's one of the best investments I've ever made in my life, and I'm happy for the management. They are doing wonderfully well. They are giving us 70 kobo. It's more or less a palliative to the shareholders at this period that we need more money in the market.
Press 1 on your voting pad, and those against...
The re-election of directors follows. All resolutions put forward sail through, with the company projecting to even surpass its record-breaking earnings of 2020 in the year 2021.
2020, we have the pandemic that affected all the business environment. But what we did differently in 2020 was to leverage on the opportunities created by the pandemic, and that underscore majorly what you see in terms of our performance for 2020.
The future is very, very bright. You could see all the various products that the company has in place, and many more still coming. And quite a lot of new plans are in place, as you can see from the resolution that the shareholders approved. That's to empower the company to do more.
The Financial Services Group is confident of its innovation and growth as it continues to sustain the gains of the previous year.
And this is the week, Global Money Week, a week set aside to promote financial literacy and inclusion among young people. Here in Nigeria, Junior Achievement Nigeria, a part of Junior Achievement Worldwide, the world's oldest and largest non-profit economic education organization, is in the force of this celebration. The theme for this year is Take Care of Yourself, Take Care of Your Money. Executive Director, Mrs. Folusho Badamosi, joins us now. Hello, Mrs. Badamosi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Laddie. Good morning, Annie. How are you?
Good morning.
So tell us more about this Global Money Week and why it's important.
Okay, so Global Money Week is, like you said, it's all about financial literacy and financial inclusion. The reason it's important is because globally, only about 33% of people are actually financially literate. About 60% have bank accounts, but they're actually financially illiterate. Now, you can imagine that if that's happening globally, you can just imagine what's happening here in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, we have about 21% to 30% of people who are financially literate, adults. So we just thought to ourselves, listen, we need to start to educate our young children, our youth. And so our focus at Junior Achievement is to educate youth on different pillars. So financial literacy, entrepreneurship, work readiness, and digital literacy. But a lot of what we need to focus on is financial literacy because of the effects of what that has on them as they grow up. You know, if they are unable to be responsible with money, that causes so many issues as we see. And so Global Money Week is all about that. So we have several programs running all over the country, 33 states actually, in collaboration with the CBN and Bankers Committee. It's a fantastic program. We reach several schools, and this year we are all over the nation running the program.
Well, like you said, you partner the Central Bank of Nigeria and you have different programs and others. So tell us more about those programs and how you drive this message with this program.
Okay, so what we're doing this week, which is Global Money Week, is actually running programs in different schools which are taught by the different banks, and our volunteers are also there as well, and some of our staff. There's a whole curriculum that they teach. On Monday, we ran a program with the CBN that was done completely virtually, where the students took a tour of the CBN Money Museum in Abuja. Now, because of the pandemic, we had to run it virtually. Typically, it would be a physical event, which has, you know, just a few students. But this year, we were actually able to have more students virtually tour the CBN Money Museum, and they were taught by some of the staff from the CBN about money, you know, the history of money, where money is right now. And they had really, really intelligent questions to ask, which the CBN staff and our team also were able to answer. So we really do this as a very hands-on, you know, experience. It's not just about reading a book or learning. It's actually about being able to have conversations, ask questions as well.
Well, how do you move this conversation from just conversation to making it stay on their mind and become a part of them? So it doesn't just come every year, we're doing Global Money Week and we remember, and then, so how do you do that?
That is a fantastic question because, like I said earlier, one of our pillars is entrepreneurship and work readiness. So our programs kind of, you know, flow from not just teaching you about financial literacy, but also teaching you about how to start a business, how to run a business. A lot of our alumni are actually running a lot of amazing businesses right now, and they will tell you that a lot of what they learned from attending Junior Achievement programs have taught them that, because our programs are very, very hands-on. So, you know, there's a huge difference between being taught something that you're just kind of reading in a textbook and being able to actually do something physically. So we have programs that you actually have to start a business. So we have a very famous program called the Company Program. It's a 9-month program, and students actually start a business. Everything from, picking members of your team to having shares, picking a CEO, and they go through all those steps and they actually learn about business and how to run the business. They then come up with an idea to solve a problem in their community, because we're also very, very big on nation building, and we want our people to know that they can actually solve problems. So we've been running that program now for over 20 years, and they now go forward into a competition and all that. So our programs are very experiential. They are not just about teaching them, it's also about helping them develop it. And we also have programs for older youth as well. So the one I mentioned is for the younger youth, but the older youth as well, there's also programs for them as well.
Like what age bracket are we talking here?
When we say youth, the bracket is so wide, because in my own mind, I'm a youth. Are you guys youths in your mind?
I'm Gen Z. I don't know.
You are really? Really? So what we say is 5 to 27, because we do literally from primary school all the way up to about 27, so graduates. So we do a lot of programs also for corpers and those that have also graduated from university. So that's the age range.
All right, let's look at the...
Sorry, I'm just curious. When you talk about, you help them, they do go into shares and investments. What about the financing of it? Because I think of the reality, you could have good ideas. I dream big. What about the financing of it? Do you help in that area?
That's a wonderful question. So Junior Achievement is also big on partnerships. We don't do everything ourselves. We have a lot of amazing and fantastic partners. Some of our partners are willing and do things like that from time to time. So it really depends, right? Obviously, as you know, not every business idea is a great idea. Some of them are just, okay, go back and try
Yes.
fine-tune it and all that. So we have competitions where they then get funded if they win the competition, or if I believe they come top 3. Now outside of that, for the older ones as well, we do have partnerships that do help them with funding as well and financing of their businesses.
Interesting. Let's look at the theme now. Take care of yourself.
Take care of your money.
Why is this important at this time?
COVID-19, hello, we have to take care of ourselves, you know what I mean? I think that the theme this year is so apt, because we can't just take care of our money and not take care of ourselves. I mean, if there's one thing that we all learned from the pandemic, it is the fact that, listen, life is valuable. There's nothing second to actually being alive. So you can have all the money in the world, but it doesn't mean anything, if you're not healthy. So we're teaching the youth as well that, listen, it's not just about having money. You also have to learn to take care of yourself. So that's why that is the theme for this year.
Okay, so aside from your collaboration with bankers, the CBN, what role does the government and parents, what role do they play in this?
That is a really awesome question, because so prior to the pandemic, a lot of our programs were done directly with the schools. Right? So we would run programs directly with secondary schools, universities, and all that. But last year, we started spreading to direct. So because of social media, we've been able to advertise a lot of our programs, and parents actually now come to us directly saying, we want to sign up our child for your programs outside, of the school. So we have that with the parents. As far as the government goes, so the government plays a huge part in obviously, helping us with our work. And the government has been a great enabler, I'll say. So we work with Ministry of Youth and Sports, we work with Ministry of Education, and they help us quite a lot, because we cannot go to schools without their approval. So yeah, the government is definitely a huge enabling part of our work.
And the parents?
The parents as well. So as far as the parents in the schools, one thing I personally have noticed about Nigerian parents, everybody wants their children to be successful. I don't know anybody who doesn't want. And so you find that the parents are actually very supportive of our programs, especially with the track record. We have a lot of history. We have a lot of people that are alumni of JAN who are doing really well. So parents are like, please sign my children up, sign my children up. So yeah, it's been good. It's been very good.
Apart from the Global Money Week, are there continuous ways that JAN is promoting financial literacy?
Yes. So all of our programs, if you take a look at all of our programs, and we've got several, we tend to have different modules, right? So what we try to do is we try to create a well-rounded, well-balanced youth. And that's also why we added digital literacy to our pillars. So prior to that, it was just work readiness, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy. We recently added digital literacy because obviously this is 2021. Digital, literacy is extremely important. So all of our programs have elements of all those things in them, because we believe that they need that for the future. So it's all about empowering you to own your own economic future. So even if you cannot get a job, you can start a business and you can be successful, and you don't have to wait for the government. A lot of Nigerians, we all complain about, the different things about, our country, our nation, but we cannot always wait for the government to solve all of our problems. So we're telling them, listen, even if you don't get a job, it's fine. You can run a business. In fact, during the session on Monday, some of the kids were asking questions like, can I start a business now? Can I have an idea of a way to earn? Because we were talking about earning, spending, and saving. And we told them, yeah, you can. You can plait somebody's hair. You can help your neighbor take care of their child. There's so many little things that we can start teaching our children to do, to start getting them into that earning mindset and problem-solving mindset. So look around your community. What is the problem there? Can you help towards solving it? And they were very excited to say, wow, so I can actually start doing that. Now we're like, yeah, go home and discuss it with your parents. And I'm sure that they'll be very happy to hear that you want to do something to earn some money.
So I'm just thinking that, it's good, like you cited some examples, go to your neighborhood. At what point do you draw a line from rendering help and, when you do it, for the financial part of it?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because, I think that in Nigeria, we like to render help because, abroad, you see all these American children that sell lemonade and they have 99 cents or whatever,
Yes,
but in Nigeria, we're just getting to that point. Part of financial literacy and teaching them about money is actually teaching them to start selling their services because then they start learning about actual money in a very hands-on way. So, for instance, do you like to bake? Do you like to cook? You know what I mean? And then they start to actually learn. So we teach them helping is good, but you can also monetize this and earn. It's a way to earn. And the whole point about a way to earn is that you also learn as you grow older that I don't need a 9 to 5. It's good to have one, but if that doesn't work out, I don't have to be penniless. I can actually find other ways to earn because I can use the work of my hands to earn.
So there's this new trend where youths are actually trading in very risky markets. Take, for instance, the cryptocurrency market.
Is he really asking me this question?
Yes, I am. So what do you think about this?
My goodness.
These youths are doing incredible
because
things.
It's a way to
taking
earn,
huge risks. Yes.
Yeah, to earn and to get away from depending on government and 9 to 5.
I agree with you. So the thing about cryptocurrency, so I'm a tech person by profession and by study and many things that, I've done and do. A lot of people don't really understand it. And I think that it's very important that whatever you're investing in, you understand it. So if you feel like you understand it, feel free to, kind of invest in it and do what you need to do. But I'm very wary about things that you do not fully understand because we've had many things in the world that have come very exciting, everybody jumps on it, and then people are crying after. So I think it's really all about understanding, and I think that goes with every single thing to do with investing. It's really about understanding what you're investing in. Cryptocurrency is not something that is clearly understood yet. So I think, I'm on the fence about it. I'll just put it that way.
Even though they're taking all the risk at this point.
All the risk.
So, one of the things you said in your opening statement was a lot of people in Nigeria, we have bank accounts, but we're not financially literate.
Yeah.
And I know Junior Achievement is all about the youth, but I'm thinking, is there any way to squeeze in the adults,
You are not our target audience, man. I think that there's organizations that do work on, educating adults. All of us have to just play our parts in different ways. I think that the beautiful thing about having, different organizations is that everybody has their focus. Our focus is the youth because we don't have capacity or ability to do beyond the youth. So yeah, our focus is the youth, but there are organizations that do educate adults. In fact, there are so many programs for adults on financial literacy. I see so many of them. I don't know if you guys do as well. I see them online. A lot of people are taking a lot of time and effort to find ways to educate people on investing. Even the banks, actually. I've seen quite a lot of banks and investment companies take the time to educate as well. So I think adults, if they are interested, can probably talk to their banking officers.
Okay, so how would you describe the impact on youths when it comes to saving and financial literacy at this point?
Impact.
The impact of JAM.
I think that the impact of JAN is really, really huge. And the reason I say so is because, when I think about when I was younger and the things that I was taught, I wasn't really taught about financial literacy. I don't know if either of you, because we are both, Yeah, financial literacy was not something that was common when we were growing up. It wasn't taught to us in a way that it's being taught now. And even now, it's not really part of the school curriculum. So we're actually trying to see if we can add it to school's curriculum. That's something that we're also discussing with the government. Can we add entrepreneurship and some of these things to the curriculum? Because entrepreneurship actually teaches you financial literacy. Because when you start learning how to run a business, by force, you will learn about financial literacy, So I think that our impact has actually been huge. So JAN has reached over 1 million students all over the country. We have so many of our alumni, like I said, that are running amazing businesses. One of our alumni is in Aboyeji, of one of the co-founders of Flutterwave and Della. I mean, they just became a unicorn company, $1 billion valuation, and he did credit JAN as one of the organizations that really helped him in understanding how to run a business, because he did the company program when he was in secondary school, solved the problem in his community, did that whole 9-month thing, you know. So I think the impact is there. You plant a seed in them when they're very young, and it just grows, because once you get that when you're young, there's no going back on it.
Well, you have some other programs left for the week.
This week is all about Financial Literacy Day and Global Money Week, and we also have a program called Cha-Ching with Prudential Zenith, which is also about teaching the students about finances. Yeah, but that's all we have going on this week. We have other programs, actually. Sorry, Girls for Tech. So we have a program called Girls for Tech, sponsored by MasterCard. We have, I think, about 2 or 3 other programs that are running. Most of our programs right now are hybrid or digital. The Financial Literacy Day ones are a mix of hybrid and physical, but because we have so many different ways of running our programs now, it helps us run more programs, you know, within the same time. Exactly.
All right, Mrs. Gbademosi, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a moment now. When we come back, we'll look at the AFEX Commodities Market Update. You stay with us.
Well, the total value of commodities traded on AFEX Commodities Market dropped by 46% in the week of 16th of March to March 22nd to close at 1.8 billion naira. The number of contracts also dropped significantly. For details, Michael Martin, the portfolio manager, AFEX, joins us now. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Eni. Thank you for having me once again.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, first, let's get a sense of activities in the market in the week under review. Could you take us through that?
So if you look at the table in front of you, there was significant decline in the total number of transactions that was executed on the exchange over the course of the week, with the total value traded on the exchange falling by 46% from around 1.8 billion naira to close the trading week at 0.97 billion naira. The total number of contracts traded on the exchange also fell by 60% from around 103,000 contracts to close the trading week at just over 41,000 contracts. The total number of deals also fell by 18% from around 118 deals to close the trading week at just 97 deals. We, however, saw a fair bit of positive market activity with the ACI and the AEI going up by 3.96% to close the trading week at 400.85, and also 0.66% with the AEI, which is the AFEX Export Index, to close the trading week at 159.95. With regards to the volume traded on the exchange, if you look at the table, the next chart in front of you, you would notice that generally with grains, there was a reduction in the total volume of contracts traded on the exchange. And that concerns maize, soybean, paddy rice, and sorghum. The only commodities where we saw significant market activity was with ginger and cashew, and there was little to no volume traded for cocoa and sesame on the exchange. With regards to the price, the top gainers for the week, the first of which is number 1, maize. And if you're a person who consumes cornflakes or golden morn, I'm pretty sure that maize is of interest to you. It gained 4.40%, gaining 864 naira in the contract value, to close the trading week at 20,552 naira per contract. The second commodity that gained in the week was soybean, which gained 1.57%, gaining 470 naira in contract value to close the trading week at 30,470 naira per contract. And lastly, we have ginger, which is a medicinal commodity and which at some point in time during the COVID-19 crisis was advocated for consumption, gained 1.33%, gaining 1,166 naira per contract to close the trading week at 88,527 naira per contract. However, we also had some commodities which lost over the course of the week, with the top loser being sorghum, which lost 3.55%, losing 671 naira into contract value to close the trading week at 18,195 naira per contract. Secondly, we also saw a decline of 3.19% with cashew, losing 1,318 naira naira in the contract value to close the contract value for the week at 40,000 naira. And lastly, we have paddy rice, speaking about commodities now, which lost just 1.56%, losing 308 naira to close the contract value at 19,392 naira. The only other asset under consideration for the week would be the fair trade exchange traded commodity, which is the FETC, which gained 2.21%, gaining 300 naira in the contract value to close the contract value at 14,235 naira per contract. And that's essentially the summary of every single thing that happened on the exchange in the week under review. And as we always say, if you want to know more about the commodities market, you can always go to our website, which is www.afexnigeria.com. And if you also want to get involved trading commodities, you can always download the COMEX app on the Apple and Google Play Store.
All right, Michael, let's dig a little deeper. Now, I noticed that the trade volumes have been declining on the exchange. Is there any particular reason for that?
Laddie, thank you for that question. And to be honest, the simplest answer would be to say nothing goes up forever. But the truth is, actually, when you're dealing with the commodities market, there's a fair bit of seasonality that you have to contend with from time to time. And that means that there are certain periods of time where you're going to see peak market activity, where you see a lot of buying and selling. And then there are also some period of time whereby you see little to no volume being traded in the market. And that sort of fades into what usually happens on the exchange too. But like I said, it's as easy as saying nothing goes up forever.
All right, well, the Monetary Policy Committee has held the interest rate at 11.5%. Is there any relationship between the interest rate and the commodities market?
Theoretically, there is. If you look at more advanced economies and if you look at more advanced commodities market, like the ones that they have in the United States, where they have the stock market, the fixed income market, and then more generally the derivatives market, the interest rates sort of underscored the asset pricing of every financial asset, right? And that's what you see play out in all those advanced economies. However, in a country like Nigeria, we don't currently have that robust infrastructure in place. We don't currently have that derivatives market. We will get there, but we're not currently there. So, like I said earlier, theoretically there is, but with regards to a market like Nigeria's, there really isn't, if we're being completely honest.
All right, so we're almost near the end of the first quarter of 2021. What is your outlook for the commodities market for the rest of the year?
So, I mean, I believe we've spoken a bit about this over the course of the past few weeks. So the general trend is for you to see demand overshadow supply, which, of course, would expectedly cause price to trend upwards over a long period of time. But speaking more broadly about the commodities market, I think for the second quarter of the year, the major focus of both governments and private institutions and every single other player within the value chain in the agricultural sector is about increasing the production value chain and see how we can increase those numbers. So some of the government policies that you have seen come out in recent weeks and that you would see come out in the second quarter of the year would be more focused on increasing the production numbers and increasing the production value chain. And then you also see some activities by certain companies like the NSIA with regards to providing inputs, quality inputs to farmers, and also providing access to financing for farmers and all of that, which my colleague would speak to further on in this discussion. But like I said, a lot of the focus in the second quarter of the year would be to increase the production value chain such that when you have harvest period, you can actually see the prices of these commodities actually fall so that they're cheap enough for private organizations and private institutions and companies to buy, so that their cost of production drops significantly. Outside of that, you might see prices skyrocketing in the commodities market.
All right, Michael, thank you so much for, as usual, taking us through activities in the market. But like you mentioned, your colleague is here. So the commodities market in Nigeria is evolving and have started attracting financing from a variety of players, including the capital market, increasing the flow of credit and finance to vital sectors like the agriculture sector in Nigeria. Mr. Yusuf Ogumbi, the investment manager at Apex, talks to us on that. Good morning, Mr. Ogumbi. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Okay,
Good morning.
So what has made financing to agriculture, why does it seem so difficult, especially for financial institutions?
Yeah, thank you. if you look at the space where we are in, the commodities market and broadly the agriculture market, you would see that there are a number of bottlenecks. So the first one is the administrative bottleneck. So you have capital market institutions, financial institutions, not being able to approach this market because of the administrative bottlenecks they might face. The second one is a huge fragmentation of players in the market. So if you look at the farmers, you look at the traders, you look at pretty much every segment in this market is huge, highly fragmented. And the last one is transparency. So you are going into a market, you are providing financing, you want to see what you are financing, you want to be able to evaluate, you want to be able to have oversight over the kind of financing you are providing to these partners. So at the end of the day, you are faced with a situation where these bottlenecks exist.
Okay,
yeah.
What is now changing in the landscape that's making it possible for capital market players to want to get into this sector?
Oh, a number of things. Like I mentioned, the bottlenecks are there and companies are beginning to get innovative around these bottlenecks. So take, for instance, FX provides a huge infrastructure in this space, and that's one thing that is being leveraged on. So you now have administrative bottlenecks being limited, you now have transparency issues being limited, and now people are now able to extend financing to farmers, they're able to extend financing to companies leveraging on the infrastructure that FX has provided. A number of other innovations are in the sector vis-a-vis technology that is being provided by players in the sector, for instance, FX in this case. And these are infrastructure that financial partners are able to leverage on. So if you look at these infrastructural possibilities that are being provided now, that means that financial partners can have oversight over what they are financing. The administrative issues with farmers, the fragmentation is being reduced as there's some aggregation of farmers into clusters, into cooperatives, and that drops the cost of providing financing into this sector overall. And at the end of the day, it makes it possible for financial partners, capital market operators to come into this space as well.
All right, so, well, thank God for the bottlenecks that are being dealt with. So where are the most interesting opportunities in the commodities value chain that the capital market should be paying attention to at this time?
So there are a number of opportunities, right, in the sector, and you would, depending on the objectives of the partner that is coming into the space, whether long-term, short-term, whether you want to play in the farmer space where you're able to structure financing to farmers, loans to farmers, and leveraging on the infrastructure that we provide. The oversight is there, the transparency is there, the cost of administration is significantly dropped. So there are a number of opportunities, and if you look at the farmer input financing program that we have been anchoring for more than 5 years now, it provides short-term opportunity for capital market operators, typically over a period of time, 270 days maximum. And then that means that capital operators are able to invest against these instruments over 270 days and then make money at the end of the day and exit the market. And that runs continuously year after year. So the market is huge, very huge. If you look at total credit to agriculture sector, it's just around 5% of total credit in the country, and that still leaves a deficit of around, based on our estimations, it leaves a deficit of about 2.4 trillion naira on an estimated total size of 3 trillion naira for the market. So that means that there's huge opportunity in this space, and year after year, there's always that opportunity. Also for the long-term players, there's that opportunity as well in financing structures around establishing plantations, and that offers some other opportunities for capital market operators as well.
All right, what kind of products have been launched into the exchange to actually attract the capital market players?
A number of products, actually. A number of products ranging from allows you to finance farmers. 270 days, like I mentioned, you're able to provide financing to farmers. You're able to help cover the production gap that they have, financing for production that they typically have. And that means that you provide that financing after 270 days, the instrument matures. There's this other instrument that was issued last year, the asset-backed commercial paper, that typically applies to the processors where they provide commercial paper is issued to finance some of their inventory, and the whole structure is triggered. So a number of instruments have been issued on the exchange, input notes like I mentioned, which finances farmers. And if you look at the way we've been able to run the structure over the period of time we have been operating these instruments, that means that because of the infrastructure possibilities we've provided, technology oversight that has been provided, it allows us to monitor this process end-to-end in a much more structured way. And the level of default rates have been massively low, very, very low. The last instrument that was issued was around 99% repayment rate. That means that it's pretty much the perceived risk that you typically expect in that space is very low. And based on this structure, you can even minimize it further.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ogumbi. Mr. Yusuf Ogumbi is investment manager at AFEX.
Thank you.
And he was telling us some of the activities about attracting capital into the agriculture sector. Well, we'll just take a moment and we'll be right back. Well, we're now going to the equities market now, where Edidong is standing by. And Edidong, we hear good news from Dangote Cement, 16 Naira dividend proposal. That's a big one.
Big is an understatement for that. It's huge. I mean, the market was down yesterday by about, what, 0.05%, but I am certain that the market is going to end up in the green today because investors are going to rush for that. I'm like, what's holding you back from going to, rush into that to take advantage of that 16 Naira per share dividend by Dangote Cement? But to talk more about their earnings is Kayode Olayemi, a stockbroker at TSL Securities. Good morning, Kayode. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Hi, good morning.
So last night, Dangote Cement, stormed the market, released its earnings. Quite impressive, I might add. We saw higher revenue, higher profit after tax and all of that. But let's focus on their operations now, not just in Nigeria, but then, their Pan-African operations. What stood out for you among those numbers?
So the numbers they released yesterday were very impressive. Pre-tax profit went up by about 50%, after tax about 38%. The main drivers there were the revenue growth, about 16%. For Nigeria, it was up by 18%, driven by growth in volumes and some price increase. The rest of Africa grew by 13%, which is mostly attributable to foreign currency translation given the devaluation of the Naira. However, the contribution from Nigeria was 70% of revenue, while the rest of Africa was 30%, which is pretty much in line with what it was last year. What is significant is the contribution to operating profit. This year, the rest of Africa contributed about 10% of operating profit, while last year it was 1%. But overall, the rest of Africa business is still not yet profitable. It's posted a loss of about 81 billion. But I mean, there's some improvement in terms of their contribution to the overall numbers.
So what are the opening calls in the market now? Have we seen investors start reacting to that? Hello, Kayode, can you hear me? Well, I guess we've lost Kayode there, but I'm very certain that investors are going to react positively to that. We saw what happened when GT Bank and Zenith Bank released their earnings, which were quite impressive. And, investors took advantage of the 2 Naira 70 kobo dividend. So I don't know what to imagine is going to happen on that stock today, but let's just go through the market numbers. It was down 0.05%. At 38,704.97 points, while the equity cap was at 20.250 trillion. Now, we saw higher volume and value of deals yesterday, while deals were at 3,937. The banking sector was the major drag in the market yesterday. We saw declines from Zenith Bank, EcoBank, Transnational, and FBN Holdings. I would also like to point out that ETI also released its earnings yesterday, so investors are probably also just reacting to that. Consumer goods was up, industrial goods was unchanged, insurance and oil and gas posted gains. The unlisted securities market was positive yesterday by 1.51% at 721.48 points, while the market cap was at 512.84 billion. Now we saw about 669,000 units worth 22.33 million naira traded in 16 deals. The bond market was mixed yesterday. We saw yields decline by 1 basis point. Now we saw yields at the short end decline. We saw yields at the long end expand, while the mid segment of the market was flat. There were 7 deals worth 6.16 billion naira in that counter. But then I'm sure investors will have more time today at the fixed income market, particularly to react to the MPC's decision yesterday, and I will bring you those updates tomorrow, Ini.
Yes, certainly we'll be waiting for that, and also to see the reaction to the 16 naira dividend proposal by Dangote. Well, we'll just take a break now, and when we come back, we'll head to London. And for updates from London, we have Juliana. Good morning, Juliana. So yesterday, it was the unemployment data, which surprisingly indicated a drop. This morning's data is showing UK inflation slowed to 0.4% in February from 0.7% the month before. City economists had expected a slight uptick to 0.8%. There's a silver lining at the end of the tunnel after all.
Perhaps there is a silver lining, but it's definitely not for the Bank of England or the British government, because we know that suppressed and continuous low inflation shows that the economy is weakening and there's not enough money in people's pockets. And if we look at the inflation figures in February, it definitely does show that. I think retail is where is putting on the drag. I believe sales fell 1.5%, which is not typical for this time of the year, because usually in the UK you've got January sales after the surge in buying in December, and then the prices rise again in February. This, of course, hasn't happened because people are still being asked to stay at home, so you don't need to wear your beautiful frock for dinner or drinks after work, because there literally is nowhere to go. The data does show that the price for fuel per litre has risen by 3.6 pence, but that just wasn't enough for the other downcast beat. However, economists do predict that in the second half of this year, inflation will rise to the Bank of England target of 2%. This isn't just because of pent-up demand, but also because for the first time in a long time, the energy tariff cap has been lifted, in part so that these big energy giants can claw back some of their lost revenue over the past year.
And today seems to be a day that is heavy on data. The manufacturing PMI is expected as well. Any insight into what it may look like?
Yeah, surprisingly, it's due right about now, but the last time I checked sneakily on my phone during the advert, the PMI composite flash data isn't in for the month of March. In the month of February, it was 49.6, below that 50 threshold, 50, anything above 50 being a contraction, an expansion, anything below 50 being a contraction. It's not in yet. I don't know what the delay is. It's expecting to rise to about 51.1 as the private sector gets used to another prolonged lockdown, but it's not in. But when it is, I'll update you at lunchtime.
All right, we'll expect that. Well, Financial Conduct Authority warns that a new breed of thrill-seeking young investors are taking big financial risks when investing in cryptocurrency, foreign exchange, trading, and other high-risk products. And they say Instagram and TikTok are influencing investments such as Bitcoin and foreign exchange. I know you're not a risk taker like Ladi, but these riskier assets like Bitcoin seems to have come to stay. Can these thrill-seeking young investors ever be stopped?
I'm not a risk taker, no. Thanks for noting that, Inni. And I've got to tell you, here in the UK, the warnings about cryptocurrency and digital currency have been long coming from the city regulator and the Financial Conduct Authority. But today's announcement is particularly aimed at Gen Z, or the younger folk who hang out on Instagram and TikTok. They've conducted some research over the past 12 months. $1.6 billion times has the hashtag trading been viewed, and I believe 1.4 billion times has the hashtag finance been used. Of course, you know, if you want to delve into that, good for you. But what they've noticed quite worryingly is that with a lot of these Gen Z generation, is that 38% of them are not doing it for any practical reason. They're literally doing it because they just like the thrill and the energy that they get from these risky trading platforms. And the problem is many of them can't afford it, and a lot of them are not using their own money. They're using mummy and dad's money to try and win back some of this. So yes, I'm not a risk taker, and the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK are urging not just the young, but mostly the old, to be very, very careful about trading in cryptocurrencies.
All right, Juliana, thank you so much. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Well, let's talk to one of those guys that Juliana was talking about. Ladi, I know you are there. You are part of that group.
I'm tracking the risk takers here.
you have love for the thrill and the risks.
Well, you know, these Gen Z guys are incredible. You know, imagine seeing an asset of about 100% in 24 hours, and these guys still buy such an asset. You know, regular traders would wait for a pullback or something, but their risk appetite is so heavy. You know, let's look at the market cap, $1.72 trillion, up about 2.47%. 24-hour volume, $120.50 billion, down about 12.61%. Bitcoin dominance still around 59.69%. Good news for altcoins that can still play around there. Let's talk to Olumide Adesina now. Hello, Olumide. Okay, looks like we lost Olumide there. Price of Bitcoin is at 8 a.m. this morning, $54,890, up about 1.98%. 24-hour volume, $49.932 billion. Traded. Price of Ethereum, 1,687 as of this morning, up about 0.06%. 24-hour volume, $16.319 billion. Top alts by market cap, BNB up there, 0.24%, $258. ADA, Cardano, $1.13. That's recovering. It's been dropping after having that massive run. It's up by 1.50%. Polkadot down this morning, 2.38%, $34. XRP, some profit taking. The XRP has been moving this period. You know, the owners of XRP, the investors, are actually backing them in this SEC case. So that must be, you know, taking up the price. So I don't know if we have Olumide now. Okay, we'll still wait for that. ANKR, 10 cents, up 44.58% this morning. We have Theta and T4. These ones have been moving this year. Theta was about $1 earlier this year, up 28%, $14. Massive move. T-Fuel, I remember when this one was about 2 cents. 2 cents in January, now it's 53 cents. Incredible run. Ontology, $1.45, 23.36% up this morning. Let's look at the top losers there. Dent had a big run. Profit taking down 30% this morning. Uni, $31, down about 9.81%. VGX, $4, down 7%. RSR, down about 4%. Let's talk to Olumide. Olumide, do we have you now? Looks like the network is against us today.
Yeah.
Great to have you, Olumide. Yeah, so, you know, we've been talking about altcoins and their use cases here. Tell me, I don't know, for me, I just see, you know, payment solutions. What other use cases are there?
Yeah, there are a lot of use cases now, and just recently we are seeing an altcoin that is trending in Africa. I'm talking about Chiliz here. Chiliz is basically a kind of altcoin that focuses more on sports, and basically what it's all about is that football fans can have a kind of virtual relationship with their clubs, and we're already seeing that printing in the English Premiership. Man City happens to be the first Premiership club to go crypto, and what it means basically is that Man City fans can have access to their club activities, buy their sports merchandise, voting rights, and different things. And it also empowers the clubs, to get a lot of revenues because these tokens are priced. And, that in an era that COVID-19 is disrupting the ecosystem, and this will also create revenues for them and also bring leverage. So I think it's really trending in Africa because of the love of sports and the fact that you cannot just use it for just speculations. There are also many uses, like you mentioned earlier.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, that's CHZ token, that's Chili's. That's actually doing a lot when it comes to sport. Anyway, Olumide, we'll get more details on that maybe tomorrow because of time. Thank you so much, Olumide. All right, Ini, there you have it. The market is doing okay. Alts are still moving. Bitcoin's still ranging. It's not a bad market right now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's a bad market. But, well, it's this is not a financial advice. We always have to emphasize that. So if you have the risk appetite, go for it. If not, stay safe, like Juliana. Well, that's it for the show this morning. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ini John Mekwa.
And I'm Ladi Williams. Thank you for watching.